to tumble and someone had to stand. Don't try to fight, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. It's too late to try, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now.
Welcome, race fans, once again to a Virtual Racing Network. Tonight we are here in the third race of round of 6 here for the chase for the Northwest Xfinity Series. And it is going to be a great race. We'll be going over the point standings here in just a few minutes. But right now, we want to get to all the sponsors and partners that make it possible here for VRN to do what we do. And of course, that is starting with Walls Beard Co. Gentlemen out there, if you have a beard, you need to take care of it. Make sure you head on over to wallsbeardco.com to get their all natural and organic products. And again, lots of beard balm over there, lots of different scents, so not only will you look good, feel good, you'll smell good as well. So definitely head on over to wallsbeardco.com. SimSpeedShop.com is your one-stop shop for all iRacing needs. If you need a custom-made button box or a e-brake for you rallycross racers, you need to go over to SimSpeedShop.com. Great company, great guy running it, so make sure you check him out at SimSpeedShop.com. Northwest Racing Series. Well, you're watching one of their series here tonight. That is the Northwest Xfinity Series. So if you're looking to get into this series or their Thursday Night Truck Series, you can do so. They are just about ready to wrap this one up here, as we have this race. We're off Thursday, and then we come back next week for the championship rounds here. The top four will be going. We'll be talking to those top four after this race to determine who is going to be in it. Again, if you're looking to get into that, you must be in the Northwest Club here on iRacing, so hit them up on iRacing at Northwest Racing Series. Ohio IndyCar League. Again, if Xfinity and trucks aren't your thing, you got some IndyCar racing for you. You can get all the latest information at facebook.com/Ohio IndyCar League, and you can get some IndyCar racing in your life. They are no longer just taking Ohio Club members, so head on over there and check them out. And of course, iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics. Jason Allison is in a chat with us there, I believe, here. So he is the owner of that company. You can check out ibog.co, your sim race broadcast graphics source. If you're looking to get into broadcasting or just need some overlays to stream with, pull some information from iRacing, he can hit you up, or you can hit him up over there at ibog.co for all of that great stuff. That being said, on the racing side of things, we have two main partners. One of them has two divisions, but first we're going to get with Walls Beard Co. again. They are one of the sponsors, and they're actually sponsoring this race here. This is the Walls Beard Co. 100 presented by Highway Equipment Company. Again, if you have a beard, head on over to wallsbeardco.com. Check them out. Make sure you give them a like and purchase some of that product. It's, again, all natural and organic. Highway Equipment Company is the presenting sponsor for this series. One of their divisions is New Leader, so head over to highwayequipment.com. Click on the New Leader button if you're in the farming industry. A great place to check out all of that. They strive to have the best, and they succeed in it. And their other one is Highway. Again, you can head to highwayequipment.com, click on that link. If you're in the highway industry, roads, city, state, whatever it happens to be, you can head on over to highwayequipment.com and click on that link for that. That being said, it of course is that time once again to introduce our second chair. And as always, here for the Northwest Series, it is a KR Stolvis. So, KR, welcome back to the booth once again here. And it looks like we're going to have some great racing here tonight.
Oh, man, Charles, first of all, I want to thank you for having me out here tonight. Always enjoyed joining you here on Virtual Racing Network. And tonight, we're at New Hampshire Speedway. in the Xfinity cars. And I'm going to tell you, you mentioned some great racing. We're going to have some great racing because this is a very technical track in the Xfinity cars. You really have to be very careful. A lot of throttle input required. Very sensitive on your right foot. A heavy right foot's not going to do well here. But also, you got to be very gentle on the steering wheel. And I've been watching these guys turn some laps, and already a lot of tippy toe going on, just trying to make a single pass. And I'm watching John Ottenbacher in the 89 and the 35 of Chris White. For the last 10 laps, Chris White's been trying to find a way around John Ottenbacher, but because of this track, just has not been able to find a lane to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult here to try to get around, I think. And while we have it there, we will pull up our pre-race analyst here to give these fans out there a kind of an idea of what it's going to be like here. Again, this is the VRN race analyst. Partly cloudy, 2 mile per hour winds out of the north, so not a whole lot of wind, but 104 degree track temp. That is a very toasty track, so it will be eating away at these tires for, again, 100 laps, 100 miles. It's technically, I guess, a little over 100 miles, as it is just over a mile. But the thing we want to really point out here is the tire window. 10 to 15 laps, that's what we're getting from these drivers before they're going to want tires. However, the fuel window, we put from 49 to 51. If somebody can stretch it, they're really saying they can get about 50 laps. But somebody who is a little off pace, maybe a little holding back, maybe can conserve, may be able to get 51 and possibly really make this on one stop. If not, I think we're going to see 2.
Man, one stop. Very, very ambitious strategy here at New Hampshire. I'm going to find that one hard to believe just due to how difficult, how technical this track is. But you know what? Lady Racing has made a liar out of me before. She'll probably make a liar out of me again tonight.
Well, she is very good at doing that, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. If we have a caution, which we probably will, New Hampshire is not the widest track, to say the least, so I think we'll probably see at least one caution here tonight, and maybe 2. I will bring it out, especially here on the front stretch and the back stretch. The back stretch, not so bad. The front stretch, however, there is absolutely no place to go. If you spin, you're on the racing surface. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So they're going to have to be really careful there. However, the rest of this track has a little bit of area to go to, but not a whole lot compared to some other tracks.
Yeah, like you said, it's a very narrow track. It's a very flat track. And what that is going to cause these drivers to do, and I've seen it a couple times in practice, they're going to want to charge the corner. But as soon as they charge the corner just a bit too much, they're going to put some more brake into it, some more wheel. Next thing you know, they're sideways. They might have a chance to save it, but we might see a couple guys getting into the corner very loose and sliding up and tagging another car in front of them in the rear corner. We'll see a couple cars go around through that here tonight. And also coming off of turn 2, very, very tricky here. We'll see a couple guys start to chase their car coming off of turn 2 all the way down to the infield. Some of them will even make it into the grass before they catch up with their car.
Yeah, and we'll be looking for all of that here. Of course, cautions are on. The last race we did, we had Jeff in the booth, and we were at a road course where there were no cautions except for local. That isn't the case here. We will have full course cautions if needed, but we got about 10 minutes left roughly on the clock, so we're going to pull up their point standings here. Again, the point standings is a little bit different because they are running the chase. So Jeff Stabnow, he's locked in to the chase. He has 2 wins. He very well could sweep this round of 6 here and take all 3 wins. If he does, that's really going to put the pressure on Chris White, Brian Barnes, Matt Henry, Gary Nichols, and David Applegate.
Oh yeah, pressure is everything in the advantage of Jeff Stabnow. And what it's going to cause is it might cause some of these drivers a little further back in the points here to be a little bit more desperate. And you know what? It's going to cause for some very intense racing all night long. As right now I'm watching the 33 of Josh Coley, newcomer into the series. He's very fast out here tonight. He's currently second on the speed charts. And the top driver on the speed charts right now is Jeff Stabnow. So once again, he's already setting a tone for tonight's event, saying, hey, I'm going to set fastest time in practice. You guys really need to step up your game.
Yeah, he is, and again, it's definitely someone you're going to have to watch here, as we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But you got a good little battle going on here. Chris White in the points, 506 points out, 513 for Brian Barnes. The question is, we've talked to him before here, before with Brian Barnes, as we'll hide those point standings real fast. Brian Barnes does not like to qualify. We talked to him last week, and we basically established if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. But, he is in a position now that he either needs to win or get a really good finish. So I'm wondering if he may qualify here tonight.
Based off of how close he is in the points, you're not wrong in wondering if he'll qualify tonight. But, man, that guy, he really just likes the challenge of working his way through the field, and more often than not, he has found a way to get it done. But if he starts thinking, big picture, he might qualify, and if he does, he's still very fast in qualifying, even though he doesn't like to necessarily do it. He doesn't like to do it because he's slow. He just likes the challenge of coming through the field during a race.
Yeah, he definitely does like the challenge coming through. The question is tonight, of course, will that challenge of coming through the field offset his need to be up front and try to get the win? We'll definitely see. Scott Mann's here racing with us, of course, so he'll be fast. He is currently third fastest in a practice session, so we're going to have to keep an eye on him as well, as he very well could be a threat for tonight's win.
Oh, man, tonight's win is really going to be very interesting. Charles, I've been watching practice here for a minute, and like you like to say, or do I should say, picking a race winner here throughout practice, I got to tell you, I can't make a decision yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I can really make a decision. I think I've got my pick here, and it's probably not going to be one of the chase drivers, as much as we want to see one of them get in and make sure everyone can get in. Some or two people have to get eliminated, but I just don't know who it's going to be here tonight. We know one guy that isn't going to be in the chase who's not here. That is David Applegate. He is not here. I forgot that he had mentioned he is going to be out for a few weeks. So there's one of your chase drivers right there automatically out. So the question is, out of the 5 that are there, or 4 technically, who will finish there? Is one driver is going to be eliminated here tonight other than David Applegate, who's not here.
Yeah, it's going to be very intense for those drivers. And, you mentioned David Applegate. Last week, we were talking about him unable to continue on as he is wrapping up his studies in college, I believe, for finals and stuff. So, man, we wish you were here, but good luck in your endeavors, I should say. Definitely
real life takes precedence over racing here on iRacing anytime. Obviously, you need a good job so you can afford to do this. This is a hobby at the end of the day for the drivers, but they do take it serious. So, the only thing that is more serious than this is real life stuff, so that you can do this on your free time and have some fun. But we have about 5 minutes left to go here. So let's pull Jeff in here if we can, and real fast, just get a quick word in with him to see maybe what's going through his mind here, see if he's going to try to make it a 3P here and win all 3.
Jeff, KR and Charles up in the broadcast booth. You got your ears on, bud?
Hey, I got you, man.
Well, we're just curious here. We want to get about 4.5 minutes coming up. We just want to get a quick word with you here. Just curious as to what is going through your mind right now. You don't have to do anything. You could truck around the back and go, 50 laps down if you wanted to. You don't have to worry about anything in this series as you're locked in. But you do have 2 wins. You have won both races here in this series. Are you looking to make it a 3-peat and sweep this round of 6?
Well, certainly, I'd love to make it a 3-peat, but this is really probably only our second trip to what I would call kind of a true short track this year. So it's a little bit different. So it's not necessarily in line with the tracks that I've been running pretty good at, which are, even though I got Iowa there, but more of the intermediate oval type or tracks that run like that is where I've been strong. So mainly I'll just, first time really running something like New Hampshire in this car. So we'll just see how it goes.
Well, it's definitely going to be fun to watch here, as it is a little short track, just a smidge over a mile. We do have it 100 miles here for the race, 100 laps. Regardless, it's going to be just a fantastic race, I think, here. So, in your opinion here as a driver, not to give away too many secrets, you think it's going to be a multiple pit stop here race, or you think we'll have some drivers possibly trying to squeeze it out to one pit stop?
Well, obviously if we go green for 100 laps, we're going to be right there at that. Can we do it? Can we not? I don't know. We'll have to see when we get a little closer on that first field run if we can do it or not. But it's New Hampshire, man. There's almost zero banking on this track. If you get into that dark stuff, it just plows straight for the wall. If you cut it too close to the inside line, it's almost like you got reverse banking. I think it's only about 2 degrees or 1 degree, but it'll just get wicked on your car there if you catch that inside line a little bit coming off that corner. So I'm not convinced that we will run this race. I think we'll have some cautions. Like I said, I'm kind of new to New Hampshire in this car, but not in general. I've run it plenty of times in the trucks, and coming off of turn 2, that really bites a lot of guys. And catching that banking there a little bit, really easy to get loose or spin it or something. So I'm not optimistic that we're going to have to worry about it. I think we'll have a caution here at some point that just resets all the fuel strategy.
Well, it'll definitely be something we are looking forward to see how many cautions we have. Do we have any at all? KR, any quick questions here before we let them go, as we're ready to get to the national anthem here very shortly.
Jeff, no questions. Just a good luck to you here at New Hampshire driving the Xfinity car, and hopefully we'll see you in post-race interviews.
Yeah, well, one way or another, I'll get there. I don't know if it's going to be because I won my way in there when we do the post-race show tonight, but we'll see you then, KR. Have a good one.
All right, man.
All right, that was Jeff Stabnow locked into the championship 4. So we'll talk to him later on tonight, definitely, regardless whether he does win the race or not. But we are going to step away here to the national anthem, so we'll be right back with qualifying.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the the home of the brave.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here, and it looks like, for the most part, I don't think anybody's coming out as we have John Ottenbacher sitting at the end of pit road, but nobody has come out onto the track yet.
No one's come out on track. I think a lot of drivers are waiting for the last possible second here at New Hampshire, trying to get every advantage they can, because the rumor's getting out about waiting to the last minutes of qualifying to lay down the best lap. But if no one goes out and everyone goes out at the last minute, well, heck, that's not going to change anything.
No, that'll just give us some free time to sit here and make our picks, which we have not done, of course. So we'll let you, as you were later here, we'll give you the advantage now, as you got to watch a little bit of practice. Who is going to be your pick here for tonight's win?
You know what? I hate to say this, but tonight's pick, I'm not going to pick a driver. I'm going to pick a qualifying spot. And I think whoever puts this on pole tonight is going to be the race winner.
Well, that is a valid point there, whoever puts on the pole. I think I said it earlier when before we went live. I think I'm going to have to go with the 33 of Josh Coley. His time is coming. I think he's here. He was second in practice, only to Jeff Stabnow. So I really think he's got a good shot here. It looks like John Ottenbacher is going to put in his first time here. And so, no, it's not, because he scraped the wall. Andy Vogt out on the track, though, in the 10, and so is Corey Walters in the 9 machine.
Yep, some drivers starting to roll out, but John Ottenbacher working down into turns 3 and 4 to set his first qualifying time. It will be his second and final lap to do so. Hopefully he didn't get knocked with an incident point there on his last lap. And it will be a 30.452 for John Ottenbacher in the 89 machine.
And that will be pole so far, but again, no one else has put in times. Andy Vogt should be the next driver to come in, either him or Corey Walters, as they came out roughly about the same time. We'll see if Andy Vogt can do it. And almost getting into the outside wall, but he will put it at the line there. And he will take first with a 30.250.
So Andy Vogt out front. Corey Walters currently in the third spot as he is out on track in that 9 machine. John Ottenbacher right now slotted into second place. With that 9 Budweiser machine coming around the corner here. Down onto the front stretch. Looking for a better lap time on his second lap. And it will be registered as a 30.937. It is better, but not good enough to knock John Ottenbacher out of second.
It is not indeed. And we were correct in maybe our assumption here. Brian Barnes out on the track, so he is going to qualify here tonight. So you said it, whoever gets pole possibly may be your winner here. And it looks like he may be thinking the same thing, as he's going to come out here and qualify, which is very unlike him.
It is very unlike him, but not necessarily something that he is unaccustomed to. Be watching this 4 machine, very well able to put it inside the front 2 rows. We'll see what kind of lap time he gets here as he comes around to complete his first lap. Coming out of turn number 4, looking like he was a little low there in 3 and 4, but his lap time is going to be a 30.329, good enough for second place.
Is indeed. And Brad Carpenter currently 5th place with a 30.748. And Gary Nichols, someone you got to watch out for lately. He's been pretty fast. Again, this is fixed setup, but he has been performing very well here in the chase. A 30.848, and he is one of our chase drivers as well.
He is one of our chase drivers. Right now, not having a great qualifying time, sitting in 6th place. but first lap might be a little bit slower than his second as he dives down onto the bottom here in 3 and 4. Looking like he really wants to hold that bottom line. Coming up high off of the exit, across the line, he will be slower on his second lap.
He will indeed, and nobody else is out on the track. When he gets done, we'll have nobody other than Brad Carpenter, who has already completed his laps.
Right now,
Ooh, go ahead.
Brad Carpenter. Do what?
Oh, I had to cough. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Brad Carpenter in the 31 machine, he is out turning laps along with Gary Nichols. We only have 7 drivers who have turned a lap time right now, and we have like 8 more drivers to go who haven't turned a lap time. And as I say that, Scott Mann starts rolling off pit road.
He does indeed. And you're pretty sure here, I think Brandon Weinberg will qualify. Josh Coley, I think, will. Chris White, Jeff Stabnow. Those guys, I think, will qualify here. So we'll see. We know Mark Walls won't be here tonight. Sean Brightsman won't be here tonight. Those are 2 very fast drivers that are not going to be here racing. So they won't be up there at the front, with these guys. Normally they would be if they were here. But with them 2 not here, that's going to allow some of these guys in the chase to potentially gain another spot or 2.
A whole lot of implications going down here as the 90 of Scott Mann is coming around to complete his lap time. This race is going to be absolutely insane from start to finish. I have a feeling that we're going to be talking about all kinds of points battles throughout the night as drivers jockey for position here on the track.
And Scott Mann's going to take it to second with a 30.268 as he's going to bump Brian Barnes, John Ottenbacher, and Matt Henry down a little bit. He's going to shut it down. Chris White, however, is just gearing up for his first lap, and I'm not sure if he actually scraped the wall there, but he got pretty dadgum close to it.
Using all of the track here at New Hampshire is about the only way you can find speed. As we heard Jeff talk about, it feels like it has some reverse banking to it because of how flat it is, a little bit lower down than what you go. And Chris White, once again, he's one of the good drivers here in this series, and by good I mean he's managed to pull off a win in the Xfinity car, and even he's, as you can see, struggling to find speed.
He is, and we'll see 7th place, a 30.815. So definitely, like you said, struggling here maybe to find the speed, find the line he needs, but just not quite as high as we're used to seeing him. But there is the guy who very well could put this on the pole here. He was fastest in practice. That is Jeff Stabnow on that 24 new liter machine. He's already advanced, so he has nothing to lose here tonight.
No, nothing to lose here. Already advanced, but he has everything to gain by forcing the hand of everyone who is about ready to point in or out and advancing into the next session.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to do. Is he's going to force these guys to have to point in. That's the terminology for it here. Is point in referring to actually have to get into the chase on points, not necessarily on your own win. So that's something they're going to have to do here. Is we're watching the 427 of Brandon Weinberg do donuts at the end of pit road before he goes out on the track. I would imagine he's doing that to warm up the tires a little bit.
Oh, I don't know. That's a bit too warm, in my opinion. I think maybe he's trying to get onto the broadcast, and what a great way to get on the broadcast. So congratulations to the 427 to Brandon Weinberg.
Let's hope he don't hit that cone, because that is one of my favorite cones out there. So it looks like he's getting pretty close to doing so, as he actually drove through it somehow. But anyway, we'll see if he comes back out here, as he's still doing some donuts. So we'll let him do his thing, as he's going to put it into the pit wall there. But it doesn't matter. That is going to do it here for the times. So Didn't come out and qualified, but will sit on pit road and do some donuts. So very interesting for the 427 of Brandon Weinberg.
Field's starting to grid up now, and it's a good time to go through our starting lineup. Wouldn't you think there, Charles? You want me to take the first 4 rows?
Why not? Let's go through it here for the Walls Beard Co. starting grid.
All right. Our starting lineup, as you said, brought to us by Walls Beard Co. Andy Vogt. I guess he's my pick for tonight, as he is on pole with a 30.250. Congratulations to him on pole position. Scott Mann on his outside, and that will make up your front row. Row number 2 will be Jeff Stabnow and Brian Barnes. Be watching for these guys. I think this is going to be an epic battle here all night long between these two. And John Ottenbacher, Matt Henry making up row number 3. And row 4 will be Brad Carpenter and Chris White.
In row of 5, it is going to be Gary Nichols and Corey Walters. So very faint there. That is a number 9 for Corey Walters, number 8 for Gary Nichols. Row 6 will be the 33 of Josh Coley, and the 26 of Ray Forner. Neither one of these guys taking times. In row 7, it is going to be the 91 of Scott Hutchinson and the 00 of Frank Harris. Row 8, it is going to be the 427 of Brandon Weinberg and the 07 of Dana Rogers. Row 9, well, we don't have a row 9 here tonight. 8 rows, 16 drivers, and it looks like so far Dana Rogers, Scott Hutchinson, and Frank Harris and have not actually got onto the grid. And I do want to update, Frank Harris actually won't be here. He is taking care of some stuff, so he will not be racing with us tonight. And it looks like Scott Hutchinson and Dana Rogers will not be as well.
So kind of a small field out here tonight for the New Hampshire race, but that will not deter these drivers any from putting on a heck of a show. So we're going to see these guys really fight tooth and nail for every inch of space on this very narrow New Hampshire Speedway.
Excuse me. They definitely will, as lights are off on the pace car. So that only means one thing. It's time to get them going. So KR, you are a second chair here tonight. We'll let you get these guys started here for the first time. We'll see if it is the only time.
Oh man, here we go, guys. It's gonna be a heck of a race. All right, boys, let's wind them up and get ready to go racing and tickle some toes. The pace car getting ready to peel off. Andy Vogt in the 10 machine. He is in control of the field. Green flag flying. Here we go for 100 laps at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
And this will be interesting to see how they get into turn 1. And it looks like for the most part everyone is going to get through it pretty good, as we will put on your ticker interval here so you can see the gap there, as they're pretty much dead even at the front. But it looks like Scott Mann is going to pull out just a little bit on the outside. So Scott Mann has a very powerful car here, even though it's a fixed setup. He's able to take the lead off the outside lane.
Scott Mann worked that outside lane very well, but now he's diving down to the inside. Not sure what has happened here. He is slowing it down and backing way off. Scott Mann in trouble here very early.
He is indeed, and he is coming down here. I'm wondering if he, I don't know what he's doing, pulls it into the grass and calls it quits. So, not sure what happened to Scott Mann, but he is chose to tow it to pit road, but I don't think he had any damage. So, very interesting to pull it down to pit road so quickly. He actually didn't even go to pit road, he just pulled it to the grass.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Scott Mann there, but a very, very, very early exit for him. But meanwhile, out front has been Jeff Stabnow. Matt Henry in the 19 machine has slid into second. Chris White going to fight Andy Vogt for third. As Andy Vogt in that 10 machine stuck on the high side here. And now Brian Barnes also going to challenge the 10 machine. And Brian Barnes going to be scored in fourth place right now.
It's very interesting. We got reports that Scott Mann wanted an EOL, and something may have been going on there, but again, he is still on pit road. He's been there for a minute now, so very interesting to find out what might happen there. But Chris White got Brian Barnes all over his back bumper, and surprisingly enough, your pick here for tonight, he's fallen all the way back to 5th position, so he is gone from 1st to 5th in relatively, well, about 5 laps, so about a position a lap here.
Yeah, Andy Vogt definitely got hung out on the high side for a few laps, but now that he's got a chance to start running his own line, as it was an epic freight train that drove down underneath him, we might see him come back. But I'll tell you what, he's got some very heavy hitters out in front of him, including Jeff Stabnow, Matt Henry, Chris White, and Brian Barnes.
Yeah, some really fast drivers here. And to go through this real fast, we'll pull up our driver bar. We'll go to Jeff Stabnow first. Locked in. He's leading this race. He has a good shot to sweep this round. Right behind him, Matt Henry in 2nd, a chase driver. Chris White 3rd, a chase driver. 4th is Brian Barnes, a chase driver. 5th, Andy Vogt, not a chase driver. John Ottenbacher is not. So you have a few guys up there. And then you get to Gary Nichols, who's back in 10th position. He is another chase driver. So we have our first 4 positions are chase drivers right now, being led by Jeff Stabnow. So the chase drivers are really pushing it here to get to the front, and 4 out of the 5 are up there.
I'll tell you what, talking about pushing it to get to the front, that 4 machine of Brian Barnes making some power moves on the outside line. That car looks to be fast and hooked up. I would be watching out if I'm Matt Henry or Jeff Stabnow as this 4 machine starts to try and close the gap that has been developed on these front 2 cars.
Yeah, you definitely have got to be watching out for him here. As he is, again, very fast, and he's going to be a very good competitor. He's someone you have to watch out for no matter what track we're at. He's just that good, as he is on the back stretch right now. Jeff Stabnow doesn't have much of a lead over Matt Henry now compared to what he did. He's only got 0.466 second lead. We'll see at the line if that decreases, but it actually goes to 0.483, so a little bit different there. As he's actually lost a little, or the second place did. He's going to lose more now.
Stabnow is out front. Matt Henry 2nd, Brian Barnes 3rd, Chris White 4th. 5th place is Andy Vogt, and 6th place John Ottenbacher. And this is where things are really starting to pack up, as we see the 35, the 10, the 89, and the 9 all running nose to tail right here, as we are on lap 10 of tonight's 100 scheduled distance.
Yeah, next time by will be 90 laps to go officially. And these guys are really doing it. As you can see, all of them coming out of turn 4. They've really kind of single filed out here for the most part. So, you know, not a whole lot of battling going on as far as positions go. But again, it's a very long race. I expect to see them gathering back up, and I expect to see some really good racing later in this race. So we'll go back here to Gary Nichols, even to Brandon Weinberg. These guys are really spread out, but look here with Corey Walters. You have a good battle going on there.
We have a great battle as John Ottenbacher getting passed right now by Corey Walters in the 9 machine. Andy Vogt diving down to the inside of Chris White in the 35. Andy Vogt is going to make the pass, but Chris White going to challenge back on the high side.
And I think Chris White definitely wants to get up there. Again, he's a chase driver versus a non-chase driver, so he needs every position he can get, as this battle is extremely close in the point standings. But he's got to do what he has to do to get up there, and he's doing a good job of it right now. But John Ottenbacher and Corey Walters still putting on a good battle. That is a battle for 6th position right now, as currently Corey Walters in the 9 machine does have it. But, of course, John Ottenbacher would love to take it from him. And my pick for the win, Josh Coley, sitting in 8th place, but he did start 11th, so he is moving in the right direction.
Josh Coley has moved up through the field, and then he got caught up in the back of these guys who are all fighting. And it looks like he's trying to pick his way through very, very carefully, as he has got a nose down underneath the 89 of John Ottenbacher. And it looks like maybe Ottenbacher going to challenge back on the high side here. And, oh man, as they work through 1 and 2, coming up off the corner, Coley trying to give Ottenbacher room, and Coley going to slot in front of the 89.
Yes, and that was a fantastic move there. Perfect move to give him plenty of room and just slid right up in front of him. Took the spot. You couldn't ask for a much cleaner pass there, as those two are going to be battling here. And we're going to go down to John Ottenbacher here because, he is a very good driver. But we like to give him a little bit of a headache, just a jab every once in a while. I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but he's passed Tech every race this season, as there was a good shot up there as he's actually running a Ford Camry, or a Ford Camry, or I guess you could call it a Toyota Mustang, whatever you want to call it, but got a hybrid paint job going on there, and he's passed Tech every week with that car.
The things that you can get away with when iRacing isn't looking.
Yeah, but all it did, just a little goof up there on the paint job, but he has got the most important job, and that, of course, is the Highway and Walls Beard Co. sponsors on there. So big shout out to all those sponsors, of course. But he's doing a good job right now. He's sitting in 8th place. We'll look to see him move a little bit further. But Josh Coley's on the move as he's running down that number 9 of Corey Walters in that Budweiser machine.
That he is. Do a quick bit of housekeeping. The 31 of Brad Carpenter currently scored in 12th place. He is behind the wall, packed up. Looks like he is headed home for the night. Also, the 90 machine of Scott Mann scored in 13th place, and then did not start, as we mentioned earlier. Scott Hutchinson 14th, Frank Harris will be 15th, and Dana Rogers 16th.
A few drivers already out of the race a little bit earlier. Again, we don't really know what happened to Scott Mann. We did hear reports that he asked for an EOL, end of line penalty. Doesn't look like he did get it, obviously. So something came up probably that he was unable to finish this race. We won't have a chance to ask him, but these guys are really starting to mix it up here still. Between about 5th place all the way back to even 9th place, as actually by about 7th, Gary Nichols trying to get up to this group. He is the lone man out right now here, back in 9th place. If they continue at the rate they're going and positions they are, I think that would make it to where Gary Nichols possibly might be out of the series. Or out of the chase, not the series.
Gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. And with 10 cars out on the track, as Ray Forner is also going behind the wall. Gonna be interesting to see what is gonna play out as this field getting very thin very quickly. That's gonna lead to some very long green flag runs.
It is indeed, and we didn't plan on this race going caution free, but at the rate it's going, it very well could go caution free. And to update on the point standings right now, Jeff Stabnow, Chris White, Brian Barnes, Matt Henry. So those guys, Matt Henry, they're running in the top 4, top 5 right now. Right now, the 5th place car is Gary Nichols, back in 9th place now. So he currently is back in the back of this field. So I have a feeling that it's going to be a battle. But so is Chris White now. He's sitting right there in 8th place. So something has happened to Chris White, and he has fallen back.
That he is. I wonder if maybe he's burned up his equipment, trying to make something happen here too early, too soon. But he's got some time here still to recover from this situation. Maybe get a pit stop in, a yellow, any number of things, and learn from this opening run that he's been in where he's fallen back.
And that's all you can do is, learn from it. And looking here, we're going to look. Currently, Chris White is 2nd in the points. But there's not much separating. Brian Barnes, 7 points separating them. Currently, there is about 6 spots separating. So I think Chris White is still safe. But these guys are really going to start mixing it up as we look back here to 4th and 5th in the point standings. Right now, Matt Henry only has 1 point over Gary Nichols, so he is doing what he needs to do to stay ahead of him right now anyway for the point standings.
Matt Henry slowly closing in on the 24 of Jeff Stabnow. And it looks like for right now, Matt Henry able to get into the corner a little bit deeper than Stabnow, but Jeff able to get a good run off of the corner exit. Both drivers running very high here through 1 and 2. Now looking for some grip on corner exit. And once again, it looks like Stabnow able to get a good run off of the exit of the corner.
Yeah, he definitely got a run there, and he's going to try to... once again here for the 3rd race in a row, put that new leader, Walls-Beard Co. Chevrolet, back into victory lane. Right there, you can see the gap is it's about 5 car lengths now. You'd say maybe 6, as I think Jeff Stabnow is picking it up a little bit. We're on lap 26 right now, which isn't too far into the run, just over a quarter of the way. But what we do want to say is we're getting really close here, probably within the next 12 laps to pit stops. Will somebody short pit it here or not short pit it, they can't short pit it, they'll run out of fuel. I don't think we're going to have that caution, so they're either going to pit on lap 50, or we may see somebody try to come in on lap 51 and then really make sure they have fuel for the last run.
It's going to be a heck of a toss-up here because you want to be kind of the first guy out on fresh tires because you can make up a whole lot of time, but you don't want to do it too soon and not be able to make it to the end of the race. So when these guys pit, man, it's probably going to start a whole chain reaction. And then as the strategies start to unfold, this race is going to be very interesting here in the latter half of it.
Yeah, and again, we talked to the drivers before we go live, and they were saying 50 laps of fuel. That was what their spotter was telling them. They may be able to squeeze out 51. We'll see. As my pick here for the race, Josh Coley is up to 4th place. So what a run for him. He started again 11th. He's up to 4th, so he is moving through this field quite quickly here. So we'll actually pull up our race progress since the start of the race here. Looking at it, the 33 actually is the biggest mover with a gain of 7 spots.
Coley currently in 4th spot, has found a way to make it to the front here. And you know what? This is a very stout driver. We talk about him a lot. Hasn't got his win yet. And he is very capable of getting one here tonight.
Yeah, he definitely has a capable car and skill set to do it. Our front 4 are just really spread out. Until you get back to Andy Vogt, Corey Walters, John Ottenbacher, Gary Nichols, and even Chris White battling, that's probably the closest battle we have going on the track, because the rest of this field is really spread out here, as we're now on to lap 30. So 20 laps now as Jeff Stabnow crosses the line. 20 laps till we should see some pit stops here, and I think that's going to be the one thing that's going to shake this race up.
Going to be very interesting to see when they hit pit road and which move is going to be the race winning strategy, especially if this stays green from flag to flag. I can't wait to see how this race plays out. So these guys are working it very hard out here. And I'll tell you what, I've driven the Xfinity cars here at New Hampshire, not with the Northwest Series, but with the iRacing Series. I gotta tell you, man, you spend so much time off the throttle here in these cars, and you feel like you're going oh so slow. It is horribly bad for a driver like myself who likes to put his foot down and do what he can wide open, this isn't a good track for that. And we're seeing these guys who work the throttle very well find their way to the front.
And Corey Walters still has his hands full with Andy Vogt. Those two have been literally bumper to bumper trying to determine who was going to take 5th place right now. But neither one of them have really decided. Neither one of them want to give their spot up. Well, I guess Corey Walters might want to give 6th place up, but he wants to take 5th. But Andy Vogt does not want to give it up at all. As again, that battle is kind of fizzled out here. Again, there's just not a whole lot of battling going on. These guys are really spread out right now, as Jeff Stabenow has a 1.65 second lead. And, you know, you don't think that's too big of a lead here, but it is, and now it's 2 seconds. If pit stops come out under green flag condition, that's going to benefit him big time.
For sure it will. And, you know, we keep talking about it, when these pit stops will happen, but before that happens, you still have to stay in contention, and you have to keep yourself in check and in position to fight for that race win. But if you're the leader, you want to open up the gap as big as possible, and Jeff Stabenow right now has a 2-second lead over Matt Henry in 2nd place.
He does indeed. He has a huge lead. That battle, I thought there for a minute was about to start brewing again here between the 10 of Andy Vogt and the 9 of Corey Walters, as it looks like the 9 of Corey Walters is trying to sneak something on the inside, but just can't quite make it stick, as he's going to have to settle back behind the 10 of Andy Vogt for 6th position. But the 9 right now is really trying everything he can to get by the 10 of Andy Vogt.
Corey Walters, very beautiful Budweiser 9 machine. As you said, fighting very hard to get by. Passing here in New Hampshire is very tricky. You have to pretty much wait for the driver to make a mistake, especially now that the tires have worn off. Finding a line to make a pass becomes very, very tricky, as your tires really don't give you a whole lot of confidence. So if you get down underneath the driver, as it looks like the 9 of Corey Walters is trying, you don't have the confidence to be able to lay into the throttle and let that car carry up any speed down the straightaway.
Yeah, speed is going to be key here. It's just a matter of getting around this track smooth, throttle control, getting around smooth. It's such a hard track to get around here, especially 38 laps on these tires. These cars have got to be handling extremely bad right now. Even on fresh tires, these cars want to push to the outside wall. So older tires just going to amplify that. As we look at Jeff Stabenow right now up front, he ran a 30.508, was his fastest lap of the race. Right now he's running 32.4, so just slightly under 2 seconds off his fastest time.
Tire fall off very, very huge, as we are currently on lap 39 of 100. And we're watching these guys and we're waiting to see how the pit strategy is going to fall into play here. Man, normally I kind of have an idea, I have a sense, I have a feeling of what's going on, what's happening. But here with this race, I don't have it yet. I just cannot figure out quite what is going to be the right play to have go down right now.
It's going to be a very close one, I think, as we're 10 laps away at the line from making that decision here. And we'll see when and if everybody comes in. But it looks like the 9 of Matt Henry is starting to reel in the 4 of Brian Barnes. At least it was there for a minute. He kind of faded off just a little. But he was right there. And we'll look at Josh Coley in that 33. He's just ever so slightly creeping up on these guys. And he ran a 31.8 his last lap compared to a 32.1 for Matt Henry. So he is actually running him down, and it looks like he's going to make the pass here for 3rd position.
That is Coley driving down to the inside of the 19 machine of Matt Henry. Brian Barnes sliding up into second a few laps beforehand. That 33 in the skull, green and white. Very reminiscent of Harry Gant driving. Man, oh man, I'll tell you what, that car has been one of my favorite to watch. He is trying to find a way around the 19.
He is indeed. It looks like the 19 is going to push up just a little bit, and I think that's going to allow the 33 of Josh Coley to get by him. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but I think, I'm not sure, Matt Henry may have had it at the line. But Jeff Stabnow out front while we watch these two battle. He has led 41 laps. Scott Mann led one lap and then parked it for some reason, as he had just literally parked it into the grass and then went to be towed to pit road. So again, not sure quite what happened. We know he wanted to be issued an EOL, but it didn't happen, so I'm not sure what happened there. But he is currently out of the race.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Scott Mann. As you said, led that one lap, that opening lap of this race tonight, then pulled it off on the backstretch and got onto pit road very quickly. So not sure what happened there, but right now our race leader is Jeff Stabnow. Brian Barnes currently in second place. Josh Coley has found a way up into third, so great run by him so far. Matt Henry in fourth. Andy Vogt currently in fifth. That will make up your top 5 running positions. But that 5th spot might change here as the 9 of Corey Walters all over the back bumper of Andy Vogt.
Yeah, they are right there together trying to battle. We haven't talked about John Ottenbacher a whole lot back here. He's got a little bit of a battle going on with Gary Nichols as well, as there's just little battles going on throughout this race, as we are now 5 laps away from pit stops here. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that. Will they come down on 50 and chance it possibly to run out on the line, or will they go and try to stretch it to 51 and know they're good on fuel for the rest of the race? Surprisingly enough, I did say maybe we'd have 1 or 2 cautions. I didn't think we'd go caution-free. We very well may go caution-free here tonight.
It very well could. We do only have 10 cars out on the track right now. Ray Forner in 11th place has been behind the wall for now 29 laps. Brad Carpenter in 12th. Scott Mann 13th. Those guys all early exits here in tonight's event.
Yeah, they're definitely something. We don't know what went wrong, but something did for those guys, and they just decided to call it quits here tonight. So it's unfortunate for them as they are out of the race. But up front here, we'll take a look to Brian Barnes. He has 2.966 second gap now, 2.933 second gap. He did qualify, so he didn't get caught up in anything, so qualifying didn't hurt him. But he is running second. I'm pretty sure he's locked in to the chase round of 4 for the championship round based on his position. But we'll know a little bit more once we actually get to the post-race show later on tonight. But again, we're coming up on the halfway point.
We are getting very close to that halfway point. And out front, though, has been Jeff Stabnow for 47 laps so far here tonight. The only other lap leader is Scott Mann. So Jeff Stabnow, he can lead just about 2 more laps, will secure the most laps led here tonight in this event. And you know what? He's showing no signs of slowing down. But Brian Barnes in that 4 machine, he's hunting for Jeff. He wants a piece of this lead.
Yeah, he definitely wants to get up there. Josh Coley, once again, sitting in a podium finish, and he's still running. Josh Coley is running 31.9s here, so he hasn't fallen off near as much as the front 2. So 31.98 for Josh Coley, 32.0 for Brian Barnes, and a 32.2 for Jeff Stabnow. So your 3rd place car is currently the fastest car on the track. And I have a feeling if things stay green, he very well may have something for these guys. He's definitely a little bit faster.
That he is. Green flag pit stops as we get closer to the halfway point really are going to start playing a factor into this. We will very soon see these guys come down pit road, and I'm not sure, but it looks like Brian Barnes is headed that way. Jeff Stabnow already there.
Yeah, so right at lap to a start lap 51 is what they're on. I believe, correction here, we'll take a look. They were right at lap 50, so yeah, they were coming in here. They can't make it any further. Everybody coming in, but we have some takers, I think, staying out here. This could get very interesting as we'll take a look. It looks like Andy Vogt is going to stay out. No, correction, he's already made his pit stop, so he's not staying out, but he did pit a little bit early.
Andy Vogt pitted a lap ago. So we will see how that plays out for him. As I mentioned, the first one down pit road would have the advantage, but he might have been a little too far back in the race for the lead to gain too much of an advantage, as Jeff Stabnow back out on track and already up to full speed.
He is indeed. Brian Barnes right behind him. And now Josh Coley. So we're going to have to keep an eye on Josh Coley here. Can he get up there? He was running faster times on old tires. So will he be able to catch him is the question. It took him all 50 laps to get up there and catch these guys when their tires had fallen off. This time around, he's already up to third. He doesn't have to fight his way through this field. So he very well could catch these guys, once we get to the late stage of it and those tires start falling off and he's able to run a little bit faster. Again, third to first is a lot less than around 14th to first.
Then it is. And Brian Barnes has really taken advantage of a great pit stop on his part and closed the gap on Jeff Stabnow. If you look at the times, Brian Barnes was on pit road for 37.8 seconds. Jeff Stabnow on pit road for 38.2. So about a half a second difference on pit road has really allowed Brian Barnes to close the gap on Jeff Stabnow. And except for just overdriving turns 3 and 4 there, Brian Barnes really starting to challenge for the lead.
He is indeed trying, and boy, is he all over the 24's back bumper. Looking at their lap times, 39.9 to 6.7 for Jeff Stabnow, 30.757 for Brian Barnes. Brian Barnes currently 2/10 faster, and look who's even more fast, 30.583, 2/10 faster than both of them here, as he is running down, or 2/10 faster than Brian Barnes, 4/10 faster than Jeff Stabnow. So even on fresher tires, it looks like Josh Coley may be the man to beat here tonight.
Very well could be the fastest one out here on fresh tires, but if this thing stays green, how much is he abusing his equipment? Can he maintain that pace? If he can maintain that pace, man, he is going to for sure be a factor in the race tonight. But hopefully he is not abusing those tires and will be able to be there at the end. And I wonder the same about Brian Barnes, as I see him overdrive the corner here multiple times now.
Yeah, he definitely has. We'll see. He's right there. Can he get up to lead? Jeff Stabnow, though, just to update on him real fast, he has officially clinched the most laps led. 55 laps. Again, the only other driver to lead a lap was the one, of course, and he is the one. To the 90, he has led one lap, if we'll get it right here eventually. He is the only one to lead a lap so far, and he is out of the race. So, again, they've kind of got spread out, but look what we have coming up here for the first time, as we have Jeff Stabnow catching the 427 of Brandon Weinberg, a lap car. This could play right into the hands of Brian Barnes and maybe even Josh Coley.
It very well could back up Jeff Stabnow, but Brandon Weinberg will probably be very particular about where he hits his marks and allow Jeff Stabnow to go on by. But Stabnow does have to catch him up first, and it looks like it might be here in the next corner or so before that happens.
Yeah, he's just right there ready to pounce. While we have him there, let's go actually, let's see, we'll go with Jeff Stabnow here as he's out front. We'll see. We'll go with our roll bar camera. Actually, so we'll go on board with him for a minute. We'll see if we got a better camera. Let's go with the nose here, as he actually does put Brandon Weinberg. Something happened. Brandon Weinberg's actually out of the race, so I'm not sure what happened there, but Brandon Weinberg now out of the race.
Brandon Weinberg pulled down onto pit road before Jeff Stabnow came around to lap him. And then, I don't know why, but he went straight behind the wall. So we'll see if he can make it back out here in this event. But for right now, they are behind the wall. And that will leave us with 9 cars on the lead lap on the track. Last car on the lead lap, a surprise here, the 35 of Chris White.
He is indeed, and something went seriously wrong here for Chris White, as he's got that Sim Star Motorsports Toyota sitting here running in 9th place. He is the last car, not only the last car on the lead lap, he's the last car on the track here, so he has got his work cut out for him. I don't think he's too far here in jeopardy of going a lap down or anything, but he's definitely got to pick up the pace if he wants to get up to the front.
That he does, and he's going to have to pick it up by quite a lot. In fact, he's probably going to need a yellow at this point and make some adjustments under pit conditions, like tires, maybe add some tape, do any number of things that he can, because that 35 machine of Chris White way off usual pace here tonight.
Yeah, definitely not the Chris White we're used to seeing, as we're used to seeing him up front. But I think he's fairly safe. He's second in points, so I think he may be able to make it work here. But Brian Barnes still, kind of just stalking the 24 Jeff Stabnow. He is right there, 30 points. We'll go 31.017 to 31.157. So he's right there, a touch slower, but he's sitting there stalking him. But again, still, Josh Coley, I don't know why he hasn't been able to catch him yet. He is running 30.9, so he is significantly faster as far as lap times go, but he just hasn't been able to catch these front two yet. But he is reeling him in, I think.
He is reeling him in. In fact, I don't know if I'd say reeling him in. They've been about this distance apart since they came off of pit road, give or take a few tenths here and there in each corner, as we see Brian Barnes really close the gap, but Stabnow able to open it back up down the backstretch.
Yeah, he is. Jeff Stabnow just so quick. Again, and that's a big key here, with any track really, but especially here in New Hampshire. Jeff Stabnow is running a little bit slower lap. Actually, that was faster that lap time. This time I think Jeff Stabnow found the line he wants. He's not much faster though. We're talking about a very slight difference, 31.093 to a 31.133. So not a lot of difference between those two, but it's just enough that Jeff Stabnow is able to stay out front ahead of him, and that's all he needs to do. And right now he is set, if nothing happens, to sweep this 3-race series, which to my knowledge would be the very first time anyone has done that.
It would be an achievement if that happens, no matter whether it's the first time or not. But I'll tell you what, that Ford machine really looks like he's just stalking that 24, and not quite sure if he is waiting until the later stages, like 15 laps to go, kind of later stages, before he makes his move or not. But I'll tell you what, that's going to be a heck of a finish here if this keeps up.
It is indeed, and he's doing a good job. Oh, Brian Barnes going to get into the outside wall, though. That may hurt his chances. I don't think. We'll take a look. I don't think he got into it too hard. I don't think it's going to affect him at all, but he does have a little bit of suspension damage maybe there. That's his right front suspension, and he does have some damage to the right side of that car. So something is definitely going to happen. I don't know if it's enough to affect him or not. We'll just have to kind of wait and see.
That we are. And with us here at New Hampshire, it's a very intense time to, I shouldn't say intense, but very hard to drive these things up off the corner. Once you get into the wall one time, you're bound to hit it another time, because it just shows that your tire grip is starting to fall off. And as you're pushing, especially for the lead, you're more apt to try and push harder and harder, and the next thing you know, you're going to get in the wall again.
Yeah, and again, Brian Barnes, you know, we talk about him. He is a chase driver. He wants to get up there and get the win. You know, he made points in, but he would much rather get the win and know he's in. And definitely to get the win from somebody who's already locked into the chase would make it that much better. But right now he's struggling, I think, a little bit here. He's right there, but now he just ran a 31.4 to a 31.2 for Jeff Stabenow. So that damage, I don't know if it's going to slow him down each lap, but it definitely slowed down his last two after, of course, it messing up one and then having to kind of build that speed back up on the next lap. So we'll see here on the next lap by if he's back up to pace speed where he was.
Turning in a 31.346, turned in a faster lap time, Brian Barnes did, than Jeff Stabenow. So he was able to close the gap a little bit there. Josh Coley, though, still faster than both of those here. He turned in a 31.267, but not able to do it consistently, and that is what has kept him back in third place.
Yeah, and consistency is key here. And we'll see. Right now we're on lap 73 of 100. We'll take a look here. We have had 0 cautions here. We have gone caution-free so far here tonight. So, of course, no caution laps. 28 laps to go with only one lead change happening. You know, again, we didn't get a chance to talk to Scott Mann as to what happened. Obviously, something did. But he did get a lead lap, so he will get a bonus point. Not going to really mean a whole lot here in the chase, as at the end of this race here tonight, we will have 4 drivers going to be battling it for the championship next week.
Next week is going to be the final race, final event. Going to be a stellar time at Chicagoland. Hope y'all can join us here. And the Northwest drivers would really appreciate a big turnout, so make sure that everyone talks it up, hypes it up, shares. I'll tell you what, me and Charles, we'll find a way to step up our game for this championship event.
Definitely going to be there, and we'll see if we can't find some way to maybe do some math calculations here to kind of get a graphic on there for you or something, maybe to let you know. Based off of where they're running, you know, how many points they would accumulate, who will be where, you know, we'll try to keep track of that or something. Somehow we'll figure something out, but right now Josh Coley is who we're watching, and he is now running a 31.8, so he was actually slower that time by quite a bit to Brian Barnes, who was the fastest out of those front 3.
Yeah, like I said, Josh Coley is able to put down a fast lap, but then every once in a while something happens and he loses a lot of time. That last lap he was almost a half a second slower than our front 2 runners, so all the time he gained by being a 10th faster for 5 laps in a row was just gone.
It just kind of vanished there. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe he just burned them up. What I'm really curious is 31.3 for Brian Barnes, 31.6 for Jeff Stabenow. Is he kind of toying with him?
Well, it's hard to say, as Stabenow really washed up there through 3 and 4, but able to get a good run off of the middle and make it work down the back straightaway. But Brian Barnes, when we talked to him, he said he has more fun working his way through the field. He's been a part of iRacing for a long time. Very possible that he is just out in the back biding his time and might start trying to make a move here as we get closer to the closing 10 laps of tonight's event.
Yeah, so I really do think at this point it's, unless something happens, I think our winner is probably going to be Jeff Stabenow, Brian Barnes, or Josh Coley. Those have been the three dominant cars here. Is that you look at those three, and then you go back to fourth place of Matt Henry, who's just now on the front stretch. There is almost a 15-second gap, 14.449, now 14.550 second gap. So those front three have really ran away with it, and here they come on Gary Nichols as they're potentially going to put the 8 car of Gary Nichols a lap down, and he is, of course, one of our chase drivers.
Yeah, Gary Nichols in danger of losing a lap here in the later stages of the race. Currently in 9th place. There are only 9 cars out on track. As we mentioned earlier, Brandon Weinberg had pulled behind the wall. Ray Forner also behind the wall. 10th and 11th respectively. 12th place, Brad Carpenter, and Scott Mann will be scored 13th.
It will indeed. And it looks like it's not going to be much of a battle here as Jeff Stabenow all over the back bumper of the 8 of Gary Nichols, and he is going to actually, I think he deliberately went up there to give these guys room. Even though he's in the chase, he knows these guys are fast, so he's not going to hold them up here. But that little bit of time right there, you see where Brian Barnes got stuck behind the 8, is going to help Jeff Stabenow any little bit he can get. As it's not going to help him for too long, but it was a little bit of a cushion or a padding there for just a minute. But we are now 19 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, Brian Barnes for sure caught the 8 machine at a bad point on the track, as he did have to make sure that he didn't get into the back of the 8 machine, and that has allowed the 24 Jeff Stabenow to open up a little bit of a gap.
As indeed, Josh Coley going to be the next one to get by him. So we're just waiting to see how long it takes the 33 of Josh Coley to get by the 8 of Gary Nichols. If he can, again, we got John Winkler in chat. Good to see him here. I think I maybe want to agree with him a little bit that 33 is just hanging back, ready to strike. He is right there, and looking at their times, he is a little bit faster than Brian Barnes. As something happened, it looked like he may have bumped the wall or something there a little bit. But he is still trying to get by Gary Nichols here.
That he is. He's closed up on him. Big wiggle down the backstretch. As I mentioned, these guys would be chasing the car to the inside of the track, coming off of turn number 2, sometimes hitting into the grass. Fortunately for Josh Coley, he was able to catch it before he got into the grass there. As turn 2 really tricky, as you put a lot of throttle into it coming off of 2. And the car likes to step out from time to time.
It does indeed, and Josh Coley's still trying to get by. Let's check up here. Brian Barnes, I think he's lost a little bit of time maybe. As we'll look at their lap times there, Jeff Stabenow just a tad bit faster there. A 31.7 to a 31.8. So Jeff Stabenow has picked it up a little bit here with 16 to go. Right now it is... go big or go home time, as you really have to start pushing it and give it everything you have, especially for Brian Barnes, Josh Coley. I'm not sure Matt Henry any vote. I think these guys, unless something happens to these top 3, they're 16 seconds behind, 19, 20, 27. I think, as long as it stays green and nothing happens, their chances are pretty slim, but you cannot count those top 3, and definitely you cannot count out Brian Barnes, as he is still right there.
Brian Barnes is within striking distance, but he has lost some ground here in the last few laps. That 24 of Jeff Stabenow really able to start opening up almost a second lead right now on Brian Barnes. So Stabenow, here we are with about 13 laps to go, finding a little bit something more here in the playoff rounds, making a way to the front and saying, hey guys, if you want to make it into the next round, you got to go through me first.
Yeah, and what a terrific run. While there's not a whole lot of battle going on the track here, we just want to give a shout out here from VRN, of course, to all these drivers. The ones that come in here and they stick it out a week in and week out, they battle hard at every single race. And these guys, props to everyone here. Just an outstanding job for them. It seems like just yesterday we were starting this series, and here we are one race away after this race to the championship.
Man, I'll tell you what, it's been an outstanding season. It's been a spectacular time broadcasting with these guys. They all very enjoyable. They allow me to practice with them from time to time. And I'll tell you what, getting out there mixing it up with these guys, they're not afraid to put a wheel in me, and it kind of hurts my feelings.
Well, they definitely are some of the best drivers on iRacing here. We'll see Chris White. Trying to look here. There's your leader, Chris White. He may go a lap down before this race is over.
Yeah, Chris White really struggling, getting into the wall there as he's fighting with the 89 of John Ottenbacher. A battle for 7th and 8th place here. Chris White starting to use the wall to help him turn. Really struggling on these old tires right now.
He is indeed, as we're running on board here with the 35 of Chris White. He's trying to get by John Ottenbacher here. They are on the lead lap. Both of them are being chased by your leader here as they're trying to battle for position. Meanwhile, there is Jeff Stabnow as we go on board with him on the helmet cam. As you can see right there, 10 to go. He is within enough distance he could catch them. I'm not sure if he's going to push it hard enough to try to get by them, but he definitely may here as we're running on board with the new leader onboard camera here tonight.
Yeah, with Brian Barnes right behind him, he doesn't have much of a choice of taking it easy. He's got to push for all he has right now. He may not want to try and get into a tussle with these guys, but Brian Barnes forcing the issue. If it comes down to it, we will see Jeff Stabnow do all he can to stay out front.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty much got this wrapped up unless something happens. 9 laps to go. It's roughly 9 miles because, again, it's just barely over a mile, so you might as well say it is a mile track. So that means he is now 8 miles away from victory lane, sweeping the round of 6 here in the chase. And I can promise you right now, when we get the chance to talk to him, he may not be able to talk. He may be out of breath from all the celebrating he's going to be doing, as that is definitely a feat.
For sure it is, and it never easy to win one of these races, and Jeff Stabnow going to make it look easy here as he has a chance to pull off 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think he's going to do it here. The only one I think really that has a say in that right now is Brian Barnes, as they're both running 32 O's, although Josh Coley's still running 31 7s. He is right there, and they're on the same tires. It's just, again, I think consistency is key. Josh Coley is fast. He is faster anyway than these guys, but just hasn't been able to catch up there about every third lap. He's a little bit slower than them. We'll see what he puts in right here for this lap as a 32.5. So there's a little bit slower lap, and that right there is the reason he hasn't caught up to these front two yet.
Need to do a little bit of correction. Jeff Stabnow, if he wins tonight, will be his 4th in a row. 3 in a row in this knockout round, I should say. He has won 5 of the last 7 races. So when this playoff started, this man got on a roll and has done a spectacular job.
Yeah, it definitely has. And it looks like he's going to put the 89 of John Ottenbacher a lap down. And next is Chris White. But Chris White's trying to hang on to it. Oh, Chris White's going to get into the wall. He's going to come off. Again, you're Jeff Stabnow. That's not what you want to see. Is a car in front of you scraping the wall and coming off of it. That could spell disaster if he spins it around. But Chris White is a very skilled driver, as I don't think that's going to happen to him. But, again, it's racing. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen because that is racing, because it is not over until the checkered flag falls on the last car to get by. So every time you think you might have one wrapped up, something could happen, as the 4 Brian Barnes drove that one in very deep, trying to get a nose in on the 24.
Yeah, and I think he's really starting to pick it up now. As we'll look, 32.39 for Jeff Stabnow, 32.141 for Brian Barnes. And Brian Barnes going to stick it in again, and he just can't make it stick, as he is now in go home, or go big or go home mode right now. 3 laps to go. He's on a mission, and that mission is victory lane.
Going to be hard to find a way around that 24 machine, but Brian Barnes very capable of getting it done if he can. This time, though, coming off of turn 4, losing some ground to Jeff Stabnow.
He is indeed. He's got 2 laps to do it. Can he get by him is the question, as he's going to do everything in his power to try to get by you. I can promise you that, as they're coming up on the 1 lap to go. This time by means he has 1 mile, 4 corners to do something about it. Can he do it is the question. Is right about there. Will be officially 1 lap to go, presented by Northwest Racing Series.
That it is, and Brian Barnes in the 4 machine has to make something happen here. Jeff Stabnow has to defend as much as he can. Brian Barnes going to tag the wall down the backstretch. That looks like clear sailing for the 24 machine of Jeff Stabnow into 3 and 4 for the final time. Here he comes nice and smooth out of turn number 4 onto the front stretch, checkered flag waving. Give the race win and the sweep to Jeff Stabnow.
He will indeed. Jeff Stabnow bringing home the 4th win in a row, sweeping the round of 6. He will move on to the chase, and I can promise you right now, he's probably beating his steering wheel and hooping and hollering in his race sim there, as that was a outstanding race. He led 99 laps here, and what a race it was.
A spectacular race. Jeff Stabnow dominating performance, leading 99 laps. Brian Barnes trying to spoil that, but just falling a little bit short here tonight.
He is indeed. And while we watch the 24 of Jeff Stabnow celebrate his win and do some donuts there as he celebrates for new leader, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He may be running low on fuel, but he's not. He's going to do them. So it's that time again. Let's run through your unofficial race results. Gary, you want to run through our top 10, and I will bring us home here tonight.
I sure will. Jeff Stabnow, your race winner, as I said, leading 99 out of 100 laps here tonight. Congratulations, Jeff Stabnow, with the sweep here in this round of elimination. Brian Barnes going to bring it home 2nd place, doing exactly what he needs to do to make sure he advances into the next round. Josh Coley in the 33 going to end up 3rd place. 4th going to Andy Vogt. Matt Henry will end up in 5th. 6th place going to Corey Walters. Chris White will be 7th. 8th, John Ottenbacher. Gary Nichols will be 9th. And rounding out your top 10 will be Brandon Weinberg.
In 11th place will be Ray Foreigner. 12th place will be Brad Carpenter. 13th place will be Scott Mann. 14th will be Scott Hutchinson. 15th will be Frank Harris. Again, Dana Rogers, he did not start here tonight, so that will do it here for your unofficial race results. We are going to throw that up so you can see throughout. If you missed it, there are the results for you, as we are going to get to the post-race show. So give us just a moment here, and we will be right back here with your top 3 interviews, and then we're actually going to talk to our 4 chase drivers as soon as we officially find out who they are. So we will be right back.
But someone had to tumble and someone had to stand. Don't try to fight, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. It's too late to try, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere just yet. We're getting some last-minute stuff here, getting one more driver here with us so we can get to the post-race show, and then we're also going to get to the extended post-race show. But give us just a minute. We're getting all that sorted out, and we'll also get those point standings updated, and we'll be right back here to finish off your post-race show, again, coming up in just a few minutes. All right, we are back here, ladies and gentlemen, with your post-race show, part 1 anyway. We're going to have part 2 coming up here shortly. But again, coming in third place here tonight, that is the 33 of Josh Coley. And it looks like KR has caught up with him. So, KR, we will hand it over to you.
Josh Coley, you start 11th here tonight, finish third, no yellow flags to speak of. You do it all the hard way. What a race you had out here tonight as you finish on the podium.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I had a great race. Didn't have any no problems. Didn't hit the wall, so everything turned out as good as it could have.
And that 33 machine, a lot of people talking about it in YouTube chat. Very reminiscent of Harry Gant. What made you pick that paint scheme?
Yeah, I'm a big Harry Gant fan, and my number on my real car is 33, so I figured it fit pretty well.
All right. Well, I would say that great job done by you tonight. Like we said, started 11th, finished third. Tell me a little bit about how a driver is able to pick his way through the field here at New Hampshire like you did.
To be honest, I just found a really good line. I was going in up high and then cutting down in the center of the corner and getting a good exit. And it seemed like being patient in the center of the corner really helped out on the exit. And that's where I was getting a lot of people, it seemed like.
Well, congratulations on your third place finish. I believe you will be credited with passing the most cars out here tonight as you go from 11th to 3rd. So once again, congratulations on that. Any final thoughts, sponsors, people you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank VRN, and I think it's Walls Beard Company. Jeff Stabnow, he's a great guy, and I'm having a blast running in this series. Hoping to hook up with a team maybe next year so I can be more competitive even.
All right, so there you got it. Josh Coley looking for a team for next year. And I'll tell you what, Charles, this guy is going to be a hot free agent in the offseason. But I believe you caught up with our next place finisher.
I have indeed caught up with second place. Real fast before we get over to Brian Barnes, I just want to definitely put this out there. We may have somehow broke the curse. We will find some wood to knock on for that one. I did pick Josh Coley, and he ended up with no damage to the car. So, 2 races in a row, we pick a driver, and no bad luck for him. So maybe that curse is broke here for VRN. But finishing in second place, that is the 4 of Brian Barnes. First off, outstanding run to finish in second here. You're in the chase. You were all over the back bumper of Jeff Stabnow. Had we had a few more laps here, or maybe a caution to bunch everyone up, you think you could have given him a run for his money there?
First off, nice job, Jeff, on a great race. Drove a great race. I gave him everything I had, so it didn't matter if we bunched back up or not. It was I had the one good run in, and I think he checked up a little bit early, and I was going in pretty deep, and I kind of run over his back end there, but that was kind of as close as I got, and that really backed me up for the remainder of the 3 laps I think we had. So that was my effort.
Well, definitely you were right there. We got just all night regardless. Almost there. I think if we'd have had a little bit of a bunch up here, caution, things they could have been different. You were right up there with him. Unfortunately, and fortunately, I guess, two at all at the same time, this race went caution free from green to checkered. So an outstanding job from everybody here. So for the fans out there watching that aren't familiar with this track here and the way it handles, running 50 laps and 48 laps on these tires, how were they to handle, and how much were you fighting the car there in these last laps of this 48-lap run?
Well, I got to hand it to Goodyear on this set. The tires, the fall off was really predictable. The car handled pretty much the same all the way out throughout the run. So, yeah, that didn't really seem to be much of a factor to run the whole 50 laps on a set of tires.
Well, definitely always good to know what you're up against here, whether it's the competition or your tires or anything like that. It's always good to know. But again, we just want to give you a big congrats on second place, and of course, also making it into the chase. We'll be talking to you again here in a moment about that, as we're going to pull all 4 chase drivers in here for the championship round. But any sponsors on that car you want to thank, or just anyone out there that could be watching that you want to give a shout out to?
No, not really. Just another congrats to Jeff, and nice run for Josh there. That was a good looking run from him.
All right, well, again, congrats on second place, and of course, bringing home the win 4 in a row, sweeping the round of 6 here, leading 99 laps. That is the 24 of Jeff. I never won a race. Stabnow in victory lane once again.
Hey, Charles, how's it going?
Good. So, again, the first thing I think you ever told me when we started here was when we picked you is you don't win races. You now have won 4 in a row, and quite a few just in the chase here. So, I'm not sure if you just told us a little white lie or if your luck may have turned around here.
Well, you go back and look at how that truck series is going, and that'll reinforce it there. I got 1 win there the first race of the season in that truck series, and a whole bunch of second place finishes. And so, no, I mean, I've never had a streak like this against these guys. There's just too many good drivers in here. It takes a lot of luck to win like this against these guys. So, this is one of those where you just enjoy it while it happens, and you enjoy it while it lasts, and don't expect it to stick around too long.
Well, maybe it's just maybe not a pickup man. Maybe you're a hot rod. You like the horsepower of the Camaro there versus the pickup. So you never know, but you're doing great here. Obviously, a fantastic run here tonight. We heard the comments when you came in here before we went live. Very tired. 100 laps here, caution free. So, what was it like behind the wheel, caution free here tonight?
I'll tell you, the first 20 laps or so, Matt Henry, he really kept me on the wheel. I'm not sure what happened. We were able to relax just a little bit afterwards, into the end of that first field run, and I kind of blew that green flag pit stop there. So I had a nice cushion going in, and we came out, and I just didn't have a nice cushion anymore. And that last 50 laps, Brian Barnes, just on my bumper really the whole time. Maybe I'd get a couple tenths on him, and then I'd drive it in too hard. I just really wasn't that consistent on my laps. I ran some good laps, but it was a little inconsistent, and I had a few of them where I just drove it in too hard. And anytime I got a little bit of a gap there, Brian Barnes would just eat that up the first time I drove that in too hard. So that whole last run, man, I'm just dripping sweat. I was just breathing hard up on the wheel. And there at the end, I don't know what happened. That second run, I just ate those tires up. Those last 5 laps, I was loose getting on the throttle, big time loose. And if I just barely touched the brakes and they'd lock up, I just totally blew those tires off. And I got no idea. I don't think I had it. Well, first of all, I didn't even have another lap of fuel left. We were, I think I finished it with about 1/10 of a gallon left, enough to do the burnouts. And even if I had enough fuel, I don't think I could have held Brian off another lap. He had me there at the end. So, I was all puckered up.
Well, definitely a awesome race here, as we're actually looking at your burnouts here, and they're all over the place. You did some good burnouts there and ran out of fuel, so just an outstanding job here from you. We know you got some sponsors on that car, and some people you want to give shout-outs to. So who would those be here for this race win, moving on to the championship round?
Oh, geez, where do we start? I think this time we got to start with the teammates. I know that Sean has been doing some remodeling. New Hampshire's kind of his track, so I see that he was watching the race tonight. I know that Sean would have loved to have been here. Great guy, just, great teammate, just so fun to be around. So just shout out to him for being a great teammate. John Ottenbacher, who's in race with me, listens to my little mini hysterical fits when things don't go my way in race chat, and just handles it the way John does. So John's just a fantastic teammate too. And then Mark Walls, again, it kills him to be working night shifts right now. He wants more than anything to be here. He's texted me little messages before the race, talking to me about brake buys, floated up in the center of the corner. Just breaking down the whole track and everything, just hitting me left and right with text messages. So, it's killing him not to be here. And just big shout out to teammates. They just make this so fun. We have so much fun running both these series here with the Northwest. Then all the guys in here. I don't think you really ever heard anybody have anything bad to say about anybody in one of these interviews. Everybody, just a Northwest club, friendly, gets along. We joke on the radios. Of course, occasionally somebody gets a little worked up, but just a great crew. And then, obviously there's the sponsors, the guys that help us put this on, Walls Beard Co. Great beard products. Can't thank Mark Walls and Walls Beard Co. enough. They sponsored the race tonight. Between them and Highway Equipment Company, it's the whole reason we would get to do the broadcast with you guys this year, Charles. They stepped up. They helped us out. They made it happen. So I hope everybody goes out there and, not everybody can buy a spreader or something or a snowplow, but maybe they can buy some beard balm or something and just say thanks. Both those guys just fantastic, huge sponsors for the series. They sponsor the team. They're all over the car. New Leader Highway Equipment Company, Walls Beard Co. And then, of course, VRN, Charles. Everything you've done for us, all the hard work that you put in, KR2. So it's honestly, we could sit here all night and I could be thanking people. It's pretty great that we get to do this, and there's a lot of people that make it happen.
Definitely a lot of great people that make it possible. But we're not done talking to you just yet. We are going to step away and get the other drivers up here before we sign off here for the night. Again, for anyone that's watching here tonight, thanks for tuning in. But again, we're not done yet. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't before. Hit that thumbs up if you like the racing here, caution free from New Hampshire. We are going to be right back with your 4 drivers in the chase. So give us just a moment and we'll be back with that. All right, we are back here, ladies and gentlemen. Kind of a informal one. We only have 2 of our 4 drivers here tonight. So Chris White and, of course, Jeff Stabnow, 2 of the 4 chase drivers moving on to the chase. So first off, before we get to any questions that me or KR might have for you here moving on, of course, Jeff, we'll start with you and go to Chris, as that's how you are in the point standings. Just give the fans out there a quick shout-out, of course, car number, name, and any sponsors you got on there, and we'll go from there.
Oh, absolutely. Jeff Stabnow, drive the number 24 Camaro. We've got New Leader as our primary sponsor on the car, right there with Walls Beard Co., and we've got VRN on the car, too.
All right, Chris White, 35, Toyota Camry. I got SimStar Motorsports on board, single car team, and got some stuff in the works coming up here, hopefully by next season.
All right, we'll be looking to see what kind of in the works here for you. But my first question is for, of course, Chris. Going into the chase here, it looks like as we're looking at the point standings, we'll sort it all out. When it is, obviously, it'll shuffle out a little bit here. I believe they're going to reset here. I'm not sure exactly how many you're going to be off, but it should be fairly close. So going into that chase here is kind of a clean slate. Do you have any strategy? I believe it is Chicagoland we're running, if I am correct. So do you have any thoughts on Chicagoland? Or is it kind of one of the tracks you like, don't like? And do you have that strategy to try to get the win there and get that championship?
Well, first and foremost, I'm glad we're done here. I'm glad we're packing up and getting the heck out of here. Today was just rough. So I'm definitely looking forward to Chicago. Gonna head right back to the shop, load up our Chicago car, head to Chicago, and get to work practicing. I think our best strategy is to get on track and get some seat time before the race comes here. And I don't know, it's just we're gonna go in there as if it was any other race, and take it lap by lap, try to be patient, stay out of trouble, and not just take the green flag, but take that checkered flag.
Well, definitely a good strategy to go in there and just take it as if it's a normal race, which it kind of is, just a little on the line, a little bit more on the line, but still at the end of the day is just a race. So we're going to hand it over to KRS as he can get a question or two in here for Jeff.
Jeff, you end up sweeping this elimination round number 2 with 3 wins. You have 4 wins in a row. Going into Chicagoland, how hot are you feeling right now? And I'm not just talking about sweating from this last race.
Well, I am sweating from this last race, but yeah, I mean, we, I think we found something here at the end of the season. This really is the first time I've run anything fixed. I mean, other than, when you first start out in iRacing, I've been running open series since I got that first license and joined this crew with the truck series. So fixed is a little bit new to me. We spent the first half of the season learning how to drive these fixed sets, learning some things about them, and then second half of the series, trying to figure out what we learned and applying it and just getting better every week. So, I think I've gotten better every week. In this streak, maybe the first couple wins felt a little lucky, and the last couple felt like maybe I ran pretty good. So. I couldn't be wanting to go into the finale with any more momentum, and certainly the confidence is there now, coming off the recent streak here. So I'm feeling as good as I can expect to feel going into Chicago.
In the last 8 races, you've won quite a few of the events. The only other person that has won these races would be Chris White. What are you going to do to fend off any challenges that Chris White has as we head into Chicago?
Well, first of all, don't sleep on Brian Barnes. I think you saw what he can do when he starts up front tonight, just because he starts in the back of the field and has a good time. Brian Barnes, he may be better than both of us here. He's been doing this a long time, but Chris White, we saw him particularly dominated this series at the beginning of the year. I said I felt lucky to get a couple of these wins. Well, I was lucky to beat Chris White on a couple of these, I think. So, Chris, just an excellent driver. I can't race Chris. It's just not the way this works. We just got to go out there and race this car with this setup against this track. And, if it comes down to where there's an opportunity to win it with strategy, we got to hope we make the right call. Otherwise, just got to hope that we got the speed, don't use our stuff up, and end up out front at the end.
Well, with a winner-take-all kind of mentality into Chicagoland, how do you prepare this week to face Chicago and have that sort of mentality where you have to win?
I think it's just not the press. We just got to go with the same mentality that we've gotten here. Like I said, the last 6-8 weeks, I've been working on just improving little things. Tonight, was the same thing. I had a list of things that I was going to work on in this race and practice and improve on, and we went out there and did it superbly. It was the same thing at Iowa. We had some things that we were working on. So I think it's just try to put it all together. I don't need to get into a situation where I'm pressing. Just keep working on the same things and reinforce the things that have gotten us here the last few wins.
Well, man, Jeff, again, congratulations on making it into the next round. There's going to be a heck of a battle between 4 of the best drivers here this season. And hopefully you and Chris White, we'll see you guys duke it out. But like you said, we cannot forget about Brian Barnes and that 4 machine.
Absolutely. And, Matt Henry may not have the wins to show for it this season, but, man, he's been as fast as anybody. So I'm looking forward to it. I think there's 4 of us just going to go at it in Chicago.
A 4-way fight for the championship. Charles, what more could you ask for?
Well, definitely going to be an awesome battle. Before we get to a general question for both of you, I want to talk to Chris one more time. You talk about you have a chance to win the championship here in the Xfinity, but the trucks, you're sitting second in points in there too. You've got a shot in the trucks as well. So how would it be? I believe you're the only driver sitting in the top 4 in points in both series. So if you could somehow win both championships here for the season, what kind of just boost would that give you going into the next season, and how would you celebrate that?
Well, first of all, with SimStar Motorsports being a new team, new to this series, just starting in February, and look how much the season has grown. We've been pretty successful on both sides, more so on the Xfinity sides, like Jeff said early on in the season. With only one win on the truck side, it's been more competitive with the open sets than with the Xfinity cars being the fixed sets. But to be the only driver in the chase on both sides and be a new team in this series going into the championship round for both sides, that's pretty awesome. It's a huge accomplishment already. But to win the championship, I think I'd be speechless. I wouldn't know what to do. It'd be awesome. It'd be amazing to take a single car team and go that far and beat some of the best that are out here on the track week in and week out. And definitely the momentum with that carrying into next season. Everybody's going to be looking at me as a driver, as a champion driver, and seeing what they could do to come back at me and beat me next season. It'd be great to win, and I definitely would celebrate.
Well, definitely would be an outstanding achievement on anybody's iRacing career, whether it be official, hosted league, whatever. But get to the general questions here for you. We just want to know, you said it a little bit, you'd be speechless. If you win the championship here for this series in particular, what exactly are you going to do to celebrate? Obviously, you'd be speechless here. Everyone has their own little, traditions they do, whether it's go out and buy a cheeseburger or celebrate, eat some unlimited nachos or whatever it happens to be to celebrate. What would you probably do here to celebrate? And since we just talked to you, Chris, we'll start with Jeff, and then we'll go to Chris.
I haven't even thought about that yet, Charles. Obviously, we've talked about it all year long. We've got some just fantastic drivers in this club, in this series. I mean, just literally, just amazing drivers. Some of the, some of the better drivers on the service. Some of them are, so to go against these guys for a full season and come out, a champion, would be amazing. So, I think, I don't know. I have no idea what the heck we do to celebrate. I'd probably get in TeamSpeak with the rest of the team and just start talking mad crap till they started ignoring me. To be honest with you. But, it'd just be probably the best or the proudest iRacing accomplishment I've had. If not just, any sports accomplishment. But, that would be definitely, one for the mantle there. And something to be real proud of.
All right, and Chris?
Yeah, Charles, I'm kind of in that same boat. Haven't really thought too much about it. Maybe do a nice victory lap, have a drink, and I like that idea of nachos. I think I might have a nacho party. Sounds good.
There you go. Can never go wrong with some good nachos. Get some jalapenos on them, lots of cheese, all the fixings. I prefer Buffalo Wild Wings, but anybody that knows me knows I prefer Buffalo Wild Wings for anything. So, maybe they'll come on board and sponsor us. That'd be great. Give us unlimited wings for life. I'd settle for that. But again, congrats to both of you moving on here to the final round. Just a awesome job all season long. So a big shout out to you. VRN is definitely glad to be covering this series from start to finish, and we'll be here for quite some time as we Plan to stick around as long as Jeff will have us, of course, and the rest of the great guys here will keep us around. But that is gonna do it here. All we have to do is thank all the sponsors, of course. Before we sign off, we want to do that, of course. Big shout out to Walls Beard Co., Sim Speed Shop, Northwest Racing Series, Ohio IndyCar League, and IPOG, of course, on the broadcasting side of things. And on the racing side of things, make sure you, again, check out Walls Beard Co., wallsbeardco.com. And, of course, the presenting sponsor here for tonight is the Highway Equipment Company. They have two divisions. One of them is a New Leader. Go to check them out. Just click on that New Leader link at highwayequipment.com. And you can go to the same website, highwayequipment.com, and click on the Highway button to see all of that great equipment. And again, they have put out some really good products. Depending on which industry you are in, farming or on the highway side of things, you're going to need to check those out. So head on over to highwayequipment.com. That being said here, we are done for tonight's race. We'll see you tomorrow night with the Race Court Truck Series. It is, if I can get it out of there, Race Court Trucks. So stay tuned for that. Should be a great race, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be used in any form without the authorized written consent of Virtual Racing Network. VRN would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.